Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to Where the Road Rises with me, your host, Eileen Curlin Walsh. Today, we are excited to have a life coach with us. Our guest is certified life coach Jill Mazura. She has had her own practice, Ignite Your Life Coaching, in Rochester Hills, Michigan for the last 10 years. Jill believes that the number one relationship we have in life that we should first focus on is our relationship with ourselves. And she is passionate about teaching her clients how to live positively through a wide variety of personal development, self-empowerment, and healing strategies. Dear viewers, who amongst us could not use some healing tips, techniques, and strategies after the last year that we have just had? So, Jill, we are delighted to have you as our guest today. Welcome.
Eileen, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Okay, so we're going to kick right off with life coaching. It has become a buzzword. We're all familiar with it, probably around these last 10 years. But maybe you could tell our viewers what it is and how it differs from any other kind of therapy. Teach our audience what a life coach is and what you do.
Sure, absolutely. Happy to clear up. I know it is sort of like, what is life coaching? I get the common misconception that visiting a life coach is like an athletic coach where they're telling you what to do and they're instructing you and directing your life. And it's not exactly like that. There are elements of that involved, but it is really a self-exploration process. And it differs from talk therapy in that talk therapy is very much about using the past to understand the present, diving into your childhood, diving into things and experiences that you've had in your life that have brought you to the present day. And so it's a lot of looking back and using that to analyze and also diagnose. And in life coaching, we don't do as much of that. There is a bit of that, but life coaching is about taking our life in the present moment and assuming it as a neutral space to explore the future and create systems of direction that empower our future. So I would say that traditional talk therapy is about the why. Why am I the way that I am? And coaching is more about the how. How can I take where I am right now and direct it in a way that feels really empowered and really positive for my future?
Yes, I like that response. I like that, Jill. And speaking of childhood and memories and experience, what is your story? What is your background? How did you find yourself a life coach?
Well, that's, a very interesting question because it kind of twists and turns, as does our life, right?
Yes.
I didn't come into life coaching as a first stepping stone in my career trajectory. Certainly, I spent a lot of time in traditional careers, a lot of them sales oriented in corporate America. And I was also a stay-at-home mom for almost 10 years before I felt this real urging, I would say, and almost an uncomfortable urge that there was something more that was tapping me on the shoulder that I didn't really know exactly what that was about. I was very happy in my sales life. I was very, happy as a stay-at-home mom. It wasn't a lack of happiness. It was just this feeling that there was something that was more aligned with myself. And I spent a year exploring that before I actually took any action to direct that urging. And so I didn't really start actually in life coaching. I started in the healing arts. the profession of healing arts as a bodywork therapist, as a massage therapist. And it was during those first years that I began to look at healing in all varieties, mental healing and spiritual healing and physical healing and metaphysical healing as well. I do joke that I was my first client because much of what I teach my clients and work with them around are tools that I've used and had deep experiences with in my own life to overcome some obstacles in my life. And so I use the most powerful and deepest tools that I have discovered to help my clients also use that as a foundation of their discovery in their life. So
I love that. I
yeah.
love that, Jill. And I love that you lived life before you became a life coach. I think that's got to be persuasive for your clients. And I understand so completely that tap in your shoulder, that urge, that calling, that voice telling you that there's something else, even if it's not instead of what you do, in addition to what you do. I think our viewers will identify with that also.
Yeah.
So in coaching, what is your style? What separates you as a life coach, Jill?
Well, I would say two things mainly. The fact that I have been through a number of personal obstacles and moved through them and consider myself to be on the other side. Although we're always, our growth process is always evolving and unfolding for us. We're really never sure, what's up ahead that might challenge us in a way that we need to work directly on with ourselves, and we really can't avoid it. And then the bodywork background, the combination of the bodywork background and understanding how human beings are wired through our nervous system, that connection of the nervous system to our body, our mind, that mind and body connection that we hear so much about. And we don't really always understand what is that, that the fact that we're not a two-dimensional being, right? We are multi-dimensional. And so I really enjoy the aspect of working with clients in a holistic way, in a way that incorporates the mind and the body, and also the spiritual work too, and the emotional connection, right? That we feel. It's the emotions, a lot of times, that are driving our reactions and responses. And so having tools and techniques, having an understanding personally of how to overcome some pretty big obstacles and personal situations in my life. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I speak very frankly about that with my clients. It's on my website, that's part of my past. One of my past challenges, and also disordered eating, which affect millions of people in our world, right? And so I often get the feedback, I chose you as a coach because I know that you've gone through things personally in your life, and that experience lends itself to being a teacher, a great teacher in a way for all of us, our experiences.
And when I say you've lived life, we have no idea what life others amongst us has lived, and you are beautiful and successful. And I think our viewers would just be grateful to know, if they are struggling in an area of their life, that we can all come through, we can all start again, and that there are ways to do that. So I love that you shared such a vulnerability. But as Brené Brown says, it's in our vulnerabilities that we really touch with each other, and where all our healing begins. So thank you, Jill. You talk about 4 areas that people tend to need help with: rectifying something from their past, being accountable for where they're at, being able to love and appreciate themselves and being able to set boundaries. Maybe you could talk a little bit about one or two of those areas for our viewers.
Well, they all sort of flow together, right? If we, self-love is a heady term. What does that even mean? We are not taught, we're taught to do, we're taught to seek the doing, and we're not really taught to understand our being as much. We hear a lot of phrases like live your best life. And, what really is self-love? Self-love for me is just a deepening of our acceptance of who we are, and then our allowance of bringing that forward, giving ourselves permission, right, to live our lives as ourselves instead of some version of ourselves that we think is more pleasing to other people, but isn't really aligned with who we are. And so, I'll use a variety of tools, boundaries being one of them, personal accountability being another one, to help my clients understand that it really is our own permission that we seek. It's really our own approval and acceptance that we seek. And when we can empower ourselves to say, despite the conflict that might arise out with loved ones or in the world at large, with me taking this direction in my life, I have to take it because it's what feels the most aligned for me. And from that the return of confidence for taking that risk, it sounds funny to say it's a risk to be ourselves in the world, but it is, everywhere we look, we get signs and signals that we don't know how to do life, and we need this to do life, and we'd be better if we had this, right? This product or this way of thinking, way of being, editing, right? Edited filters and looking like everybody else. But it's really the foundation of our own permission that we're looking for. So
well, I remember once my 11-year-old niece saying, every teacher tells us to be ourselves, and they tell us also to be kind, and they tell us also to behave, and they tell us to engage in behaviors that might not be natural. So which is it? Is it who we naturally would be, or is it ourselves? And I remember thinking, boy, she really had her finger on the pulse of, cutting through this be yourself, almost a very generic term that the teacher was using without truly teaching them what being themselves meant. And I just thought it was intuitive for an 11-year-old to realize that and know that was, and I remember saying to her at the time, figuring out who you are and being yourself is for many of us is a lifelong journey.
You are so right. So right. And whomever, did you say that was your niece?
My niece with 11, yes.
Brilliant girl, right? Yeah. And it is, that's the conundrum, is be yourself, but not like that, right? Right. And so the empowerment to say, be yourself just like that, and let the chips fall, where they may, because otherwise we're dealing with the conflict of that inside of, I want to, but, I don't know how, or it's not normal, whatever that is, or I might get blowback from the people in my life about this choice. If you have, I'm trying to think of the great Glennon Doyle's quote, that when she says, if you have an opportunity to choose between yourself and pleasing a relationship, pick yourself every time. And I love that. Yes. And the relationships will sort themselves out. They do. We have to trust that. And I see it every day, and I've lived it, where we don't quite trust that. We want the evidence to inform, the circumstance, to say, you have to approve of me first before I can do that, when it really is the best path is the other way around. I need to do that, and whomever approves, and whomever does not, that's not really the most important thing to me. The most important thing is that we are directing our own lives.
Yes. And while we continue to personally develop and be the best version of ourselves, then we know that we are also not just choosing to stay stuck in something, but choosing to move forward.
Yes.
Jill, this is fascinating. And you talk about your tool belt and the various tools you have to use. One of them I've heard you talk about is EFT. It's a powerful tool for you, one I know nothing about, and many of our viewers, I'm sure, will not. So tell us what EFT is and how you use it for our good.
Okay. Well, EFT is my favorite tool because it incorporates everything. It incorporates everything that I've learned, everything that is important to personal development, almost in one tool. And I know I'm, tooting its horn, but it really speaks for itself. So first, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. And so there are a variety of techniques under the umbrella of EFT. The one that I teach the most often is just basic EFT. And EFT is a tool that helps us calm our nervous system. It deals directly with the part of the brain that's responsible for stress or fight or flight, right? That circumstance that we find ourselves in that we label as stress, that would be the general term for it. But it's that panicked or out of control state that we get in due to stress that is known as fight or flight. So the tool works with to target a system in our body called the meridian system, and it's one of our energy systems. It's an invisible to us system on the inside of our body, but it's the system that is used by acupressurists and acupuncturists. So by tapping on certain points on our body in an algorithm and using what we call modern psychology, affirmations, statements of acceptance around how it is that we're doing, what we're experiencing emotionally, while also calming our nervous system down, we're able to bring ourselves back into this resolved state of feeling very neutral, feeling very comfortable, bringing our mind back online, et cetera, et cetera. I could really talk a blue streak, but I know that we have limited today.
Is it possible you could give us a little demonstration?
Oh,
us how that would look, what tapping looks and feels like?
Yes, for sure, for sure. So I would love to. Let me just move my camera down. There aren't too many lower points on the body. So the tapping algorithm is just a series of 9 points along the way. And we're actually tapping. It's considered a self-care tool, which is great. And why I love it so much is that we don't have to go anywhere, buy anything specific, wear anything specific. You make an appointment and have to wait. It's something that we can do anywhere, anytime to help us immediately resolve feeling in a state of either panic or just discomfort due to stress. So let's go with, I'd love to just start by showing you the basic tapping algorithm. So how tapping works is we focus on whatever the stressor of the moment is, right? So say it's an upcoming interview that you have to do, right? And you don't have a lot of time in the day to prepare for this, and you're trying to figure it all out, and you're kind of in your head about it. And so I would ask you as a coach, what is it that's stressing you out? And you would say, this I'm overwhelmed. I have too much to do. I have this upcoming interview. And so we've honed in on not only what the stressor is, but we've honed in on at least one emotion around it, being overwhelmed, right? And so we would go through the points, and there's just 9 of them. So the first point is on the side of the hand, and you can just follow along with me.
Mhm.
This is point 1. And I have all of this information on my website if somebody is interested in learning more. So the side of the hand is the first point. I'll take my glasses off. The second point is right on the eyebrow. It's really easy to learn. The third point is follow your eyebrow around to where your eyebrow ends. The next point is under the eye. Next point is under the nose.
2 fingers, or does it matter?
2 fingers, 1 finger. These are pretty small points. Think of how small acupuncture needles are, right? That's what we are accessing this energy system when we are getting acupuncture or doing, this is a form of acupressure, right? Where we're just pressing and sending a signal back through this system to the brain to dial down the stress, right? Turn off the fight or flight is what will be the result of this tapping. So chin, and then the next point is collarbones. So touch your collarbones and then just allow your hands to drop just underneath them about an inch, okay?
Mhm.
Right into this kind of fleshy area right here. That's collarbones. And then there are just 2 points. So you like that one?
It feels
I can see something happening there.
Yes, so I'm wondering if the concentration that I'm putting into it is getting me into a meditative state, or if I'm truly touching a meridian, or is it both?
Probably both. It's the focus and the physical act, right? In combination that allows the nervous system to quiet down and resolve itself. So final 2, right underneath the arm, not necessarily in the armpits, but just about like a hand's distance underneath the arm. And then finally top of the head. And I just like to tap there is the meridian lines end up in the head. So there are a number of end points that you can tap on here.
Yeah. Now this one does feel a little silly, Jill.
I know.
You feel like a little bit of a clown.
The monkey, we say, right? It's
Yes.
the monkey point, right?
Yes. But it's a tool you have used to and had great success with. So there's nothing like success with the tool to understand that no matter how it feels or how it looks, if the numbers are there to show
That's
that people get a great advantage. And if we're talking about energy points and meridians, we're going back thousands of years for the use of the medicine. So it's not newfangled. You're really just reusing something we've known for a very long time has healing qualities.
You're right. Yeah, it's definitely an ancient system, really, that has been repurposed in a very useful way, consumerly useful. You don't have to be an expert in energy medicine to use this. Anybody can use this anywhere, anytime, any age, by the way, as well. So
Jill, as you sit with people, meet with people, you've gone through your own experiences, you've raised your children, where are we at as a species, we humans? How are we doing? What are your thoughts on the human condition as you go through life, meet with your clients? What conclusions are you drawing?
Oh my gosh. I have a deep, deep love for humanity. I wouldn't be in this work if I didn't. I see us all as so much more connected than we even see ourselves most of the time. And I think that that's the crisis really of the time. Stress contributes to it, but not understanding our own power is underneath that, right? If we did, we wouldn't be in a lot of the crisis that we're in with ourselves and fighting with each other. like we've seen in epic proportion this last year.
Yes.
You know, it would be easy to look to point at just this last year and say human beings are terrible and they're, you know, showing their truth. I think what we're responding to is trauma, to tell you the truth, this last year. Stress has always been a part of our lives, right? But this last year in particular has not only been stressful, it has unveiled a lot of unhealed patterns that are here, that also connect humanity, just like love does, just like the brighter, I guess, side of humanity, the side we like to lean into more. So does the unhealed things, generational things between us. And, you know, we're facing all of that right now. And it's part of the process. I really believe that. I really believe that what we're going through right now, as uncomfortable as it is, and most of us, you know, want to just get to the end and say, this is, you know, let's just have the happy ending. The same is true about the personal process, you know, of coaching or any other personal, you know, process of personal development that we can't, the only way to the end is through the middle. And that's, you know, that's what, yeah.
So we each go through your own personal pandemic from time to time, learn our lessons and emerge out the other side.
Yes.
I love that.
Absolutely. Jill. Yeah.
Oh, this talk has been wonderful. It makes me want to know so much more about you and what you do. If our viewers would like to know more about Ignite Your Life coaching, how will they find you, Jill?
The best way to find me would be on my website, which is my name, jillmasura.com. And they'll find there's a lot of information on EFT there. There's a lot more expanded information on the coaching practice. So that's one way to find me. And then on social media as well. I'm myself there, not any business name or code name there. I'm Jill Masura on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And I really consider my social media to be microblogging of the work that I do personally with clients of, I share a lot there too, tools and perspectives, different strategies for understanding ourselves and the world at large. And that would be the best way to find me.
Yes, I love that. When we are in these very intimate professions that we're in, there isn't a huge difference between your professional self and your personal self. Hence, no need to have a big difference between your professional social media and your personal, because we are all one and you share both personal and professional alike. I just love that, Jill. I want to know more about what you do. We are coming to the end of our program. So what I was wondering was whether there is something you'd like to share with us, a quote, maybe some last words. Do you have a favorite poem, Bible verse, something inspirational?
I do. I keep a poem on my desk and I will share it, but you've already shared one of my favorite quotes. And I don't know if you even knew you were sharing it in the opening. It's a quote by Diane von Furstenberg, the famous fashion designer. And she says, the most important relationship we have in our lives is the relationship that we have with ourselves. And I love that because it's the truth. When the foundation here is solid, we need so much less from the world in terms of validation and approval. So it's really worth our while to understand ourselves and to learn the tools of self-acceptance and
beautiful
empowerment. Yeah.
Jill, you remind me of a little story. I had not prepared to tell this, but I want to share it with our viewers. A minister who was trying really hard to come up with a great idea for his Sunday sermon, and his little tiny child was playing with him and would not give him peace. So he just took a picture. There was a map of the world in the paper. He gave it to his little son and said, there, put that together, thinking, that'll take him quite a bit of time. I will get my sermon wrote. And the little guy come back in no time at all. And he put the whole thing together. And the minister said, how did you do that? How did you do that so quickly? And he says, oh, look, on the other side was a picture of a man. And he said, I just put the man together. So when the man was right on one side, the world was right on the other side, and the minister had his Sunday sermon. I
Wow.
love that. It's
Powerful.
exactly. Yes,
Yep.
yes.
That's a powerful image.
Jill, thank you so much for sharing with our viewers. Viewers, if you want to get a hold of Jill, you can look for Ignite Your Life. But I think if you go to jillmazura.com, go to her Facebook, go to your Instagram, you will learn all about her. She actually has a very detailed map of how to begin tapping so that you can understand how that therapy works. So thank you, viewers, for watching. Thanks, Jill, for joining me.
Thank you, Eileen.
Some great tips today, and I will see you next time on Where the Road Rises. Thanks and bye.